As Jason, I sure hope he's gonna be coming in a bit. Also, Mad Hatter's also not here yet, so we're gonna just wait for people to join as they already do, and then once Jason's here and Mad Hatter, we can get the party started. Here for the alpha, yeah. I sure hope Mad Hatter can get the alpha out of Jason. You're not going to join me up on stage, Mad Hatter? Like, are you leaving me alone today, or?
I'll chill with you.
I was hoping that you said yes. No, please don't leave. Please don't leave. It was a joke.
Any more of that, and I will leave.
I don't know. Someone is missing, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I put my finger on it too.
Our VIP is not here yet.
But Craig is in the audience. He's there. Let me bring Craig up on stage, okay?
Okay, go for it. Let me just ping him.
I'd love to interview Craig. Look at that cute bear, right? Like whoever created that bot, like picked the worst picture ever for a bot. With the silly microphone as well.
Right. Okay. Well, this is awkward.
How you been?
Not too bad. How are you? Should we get someone up on stage while we're waiting?
Yeah, I mean, whoever wants to come up on stage, just raise your hand.
Put it in the air. Come up. Chat with us. Cool. Well, that's even more embarrassing.
I got someone to bring up on stage. Wait a second. Alrighty, Craig. How you doing? Very shy.
We have Raj Masters in the house, who we spoke to not too long ago.
Ooh.
He had a successful launch, which is good.
I would love to have the soundboard right now. Because I would give Raj Master an applause.
Crypt783 also in the house. Hello. Nice to have you as always. Serenity, of course. T Gunner. And Boss. Just
Boss?
Just Boss. That's all he needs to say. And
so many people joining. No, if Jason joins or not. Oh.
No, not yet. I'm going to ping him. I'll let you guys talk for a minute. Hello, Serenity. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to jump out for a second.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Good evening, good night for me. So.
Good evening, David. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine. What about yourself?
Doing pretty good so far. It's been a good day. So yeah, just grinding away, working on some thumbnails, getting ready for a couple big events coming up. So awesome. Yeah, just having fun. How about you? What's new and great in your world, my
man? Just chilling, just hanging out here, waiting for Jason. Jason to join us.
Gotcha. See a lot of great people in the audience. Hello, everyone. Funny Toro stands out. Good to see you, Funny. Yeah, a lot of good faces. So great to have everybody here.
Yeah, we've got a nice starting around me as well.
Oh, and Matt's back. Okay, I got to be quiet now. Don't tell him what I said, David.
I thought Matt
there he is. There's the man of the hour.
Hey.
Boys, sorry. I'm a couple minutes late. I'll give you the alpha. I just got off a call with AJ. Oh, things are happening in this.
Exciting.
You better give
Yeah,
us the alpha.
when the big boys get together, you know something's a brewing.
That's awesome. Yeah, very excited for this one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as you know, usually we wait a couple of minutes, but that's already that's
The
already
couple of
over.
minutes is
So,
done now. I'm ready to go. I apologize, guys. I know I am a little bit
no
late, but
worries, no worries.
I'm
No
here. I'm
worries.
here, and I promise to give you my full, undivided attention, unconditional love.
Perfect, perfect. So let's get the party started. Thank you all for coming today. Thanks, Jason, for coming. Welcome to the Pillars. We are a community-led space aimed at supporting protocols and educating our investors for intelligent, meaningful conversation. Here we ask the tough questions you all want answered. Usually in my script, there comes the line, "Let me now introduce to you," but doesn't need to happen an introduction for Warfi. With Jason's words from last week's Q&A with Warhaven, one of the top 5 DeFi protocols at the moment, Warfi, of course, with the founder, Jason. Let me just give a quick introduction to Warfi. Warfi is already out for, like, how long does Warfi already, like, when did you
I
guys
think, I
launch?
think, I think we almost a year now.
Wow.
I mean,
okay.
from the first time when we were still doing, remember we first had the soldiers, we had our P2E game, we slowly transitioned, we did warbots. I mean, warbots have been running for like 7 months now, 8 months now.
Yeah.
And there was
The
a good
OG
3 months.
Warbots,
So I think, yeah, the OGs, obviously, warbots started literally like 6, 7 months ago. And before that, we still had the soldiers. And yeah, we've been going for quite a while now, man.
So you heard it right
Almost a
right
year,
about
almost a
1
year.
year. Basically dinosaurs in the DeFi space, but still fresh as you can be, right? Always
Yeah, yeah.
coming up with new stuff, as you already heard. Brewing, something is brewing in the background with AJ from EMP, I suppose. And yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you already gave an introduction. You started out with as a passive income in a way, with as a play to earn game, and also with an NFT. Then you moved to the OG Warbots, which are sold out, like already a long time ago. And now you guys have the Warbots, the NFTs that are averaging a passive income, a return of 9% a month, with through the tradingbots.me bots through Shiny Jackal, which already
Yeah.
have been averaging 9% return per month over the last 17, 18 months,
Yeah,
right?
so it's about 8%. It's about 8%. 9%, was about 3, 4 months ago. But
Mhm.
because of obviously the volume and the volatility, just to be honest, we're going to be changing that up in our documentation as well. Because the first 12 months, I mean, with Shiny Jackal and us, we were in exclusive partnership. So it's actually just one big team now. It's not just tradingbots.me anymore. It's actually just Warfi. Me and Shiny have completely partnered up, and he's obviously part of the Warfi team. So the first 12 months we were looking over 9%, almost hitting 10. I mean, some of our months we hit 13, 15% returns. But now for the last 6 months, it's closer to 6%. And the reason for that is just obviously markets. I mean, we've gone through the Luna crash, we've gone through the FTF crash. I mean, the markets, the volume and volatility is only 10% of what it used to be. And we're still having to try and do well. So the fact that we're still doing 6% compared to 9, but with only 10% of the volume in the markets, we've really had to work and make sure we're the best for a reason.
And also not with a single negative month. That's also very, like,
Yeah,
kudos to that as well.
17 now, well, actually 18 months now without a negative month.
Yeah.
And what's nice about the way we do it, we've got about 40 different bot strategies running at the same time. And what we do is we play both sides of the fence. So we'll go short and long at the same time, right? This is just one of the strategies that I'll give you guys a bit of, background info. You can go short and long on the same thing at the same time. And when something's pumping, you get out of the negative one and you obviously ride up the positive one. If you're stuck in a trade, you DCA out of it. You're always making profit, and that's some of our secret sauce that we use, that we never lose a trade. We don't close trades in a loss. We rather DCA out of it so that we always come out obviously in the positive. $2 positive is better than losing money And that's the philosophy that Warfi has taken. We've created an ecosystem where we don't want people losing money. I'd rather you make 3% a month than lose money, because every single other project out there is promising people 1% a day, and we've got trading of 50% a month, and it's all just a bunch of nonsense. At the end of the day, that's why these projects come and go. And Warfi has been around for how long? Because we obviously professionals with what we do with trading. I mean, our team now is up to 12 people just on the trading side. And that's from TAs, that's from macroeconomics, that's from the banking sector, financial sector, people that are trading currently stocks at the moment. So we've got a massive team, and we've got people that watch our bot 24/7. So we've got 2 guys obviously on the night shift and 2 guys on the day shift watching every single bot. And the reason why the people sell you these bot trading platforms like, hey, use our bot, the fact is that bot was created just for that moment. All right. And yes, it's working, it's backtested, but markets change, the variables change. We change our bots every single day to fit the market. And that's why we still haven't lost a trade in 18 months.
And alongside those trades and like what you're building for Warfi as well, you're also providing a TBAS system, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Service which we had them on last week, or was it last week already? A couple of with Warhaven, Rajma says in the audience, already successfully launched today. That is also very exciting that you have this exclusive work with Trading Bots Me with Shiny Jackal, where you are able to provide that service to projects. And yeah, I mean, I just wanted to do a little introduction. So I hope I got most of it covered. Of course, there's more to it. And Matt Hatter is going to get into that. And thanks for having me on stage. Thanks for listening. And I hope everyone enjoys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, David. Jason, how you doing, my man? Busy?
Oh, you know me. 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. Apparently, I don't sleep, but I try and get a couple hours in.
As and where you can, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll fall asleep at my desk, and then I got keyboard marks on my face when I wake up. You know, that type of stuff.
Yeah, I know how you feel. This is going to be a great conversation. I'm looking forward to it. I think what's going to be super interesting is the more successful a protocol becomes, in particular a protocol like yourselves, where you guys can sit behind 18 months of green trading, the tougher it becomes to ask you guys questions that, people might think are the tough questions, right? Which means the questions perhaps feel a bit more targeted. So if a question feels targeted, please take it as nothing other than a compliment, because you guys are making my job particularly hard when I'm trying to deep dive and find anything to ask that might be out of the norm.
I applaud the hard questions, because it really shows off what we're capable of doing. And you know, a lot of people, like you say, it's tough to ask Warfi the hard questions, because I mean, we've proven ourselves over, let's be honest, a week in crypto is like a month. So technically, it's like dog years for us. We're the veterans of this game by now, you know.
Right. Yes, you are, and doing extremely well. And building out. And David mentioned the TBAS. So I'm going to go straight in on that and say, how far are you guys wanting to push this TBAS system that you guys have created, where you're going to lease out these bots? How many protocols are you wanting to get into? Are you kind of taking the route that you want to educate as many protocols as possible, that you guys are doing so successfully well that you're a very, very good option to start considering when they're trying to do any kind of bot trading?
Yeah, so that's the thing. You know, firstly, I'm gonna say 2 things. The reason for this AMA is not to get people to buy into warbots, because our back end is doing so well with the TBAS that it's doing better than anything else, right? We actually don't need to focus on bringing in investors anymore, because the thing is, I'm not going to focus on bringing 100 people in at $100 each. It doesn't make sense. I bring in one project with $500,000, and that's what we're working on, doing 2 or 3 of those a month. We're helping other projects get involved, right? So first of all, this was more of an update, let people know our system's going well, our new DApp is live. You know, that's more for the audience, the people that are already in Warfi, being like, hey, guys, you know, the system is working, everything is perfect, everything is stable. Let us tell you what we're doing in the background, and eventually that's going to come back and obviously help all the investors that are currently in. Because the more volume, the more obviously capital we have, the safer it gets, you know?
Right.
the fact that we can deploy multiple strategies means we've got a bigger capital to work with, and that's obviously why we're doing what we're doing. So when it comes to the TBAS, you guys have had obviously other projects, already in the last couple of weeks that have been using our system, from Hybrid, we from Warhaven, Dauntless, we've got a good couple in the background. I mean, we got a couple that we can't even mention because, they, let's just say, they still want to try and dig themselves out of a hole, right? So they don't want to even.
I see.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to help save other projects right now, right? We've got projects that are in 800K, $1 million trading with us, right? That you don't even see on our DApp. The DApp that people see, they see $3 million trading. That's only the individual investors. That's only the people that are sitting in this audience right now. The people that they don't see are the actual partners, right? And the partners are where obviously most of our funds, we got a good couple million there, just obviously helping the actual other projects. Because let's be honest, any project starting these days that wants to do well, they're going to need real yield, real revenue from somewhere.
Right.
And where do they get that? Unless they get it from actual making revenue through buying and selling of assets at a higher price, or trading the market to make real yield. Where else do they get that yield? And because Warfi has been here for so long, that's why we're starting to do so well. Everybody's coming to us and being like, hey, you guys are the ones making real revenue. No bullshit, no Ponzi. You guys are making real revenue. You've been doing it for 18 months now. That's a year and a half of true revenue. All right. And people are running to us, and it's not just new projects starting, it's old projects that have been around that are trying to salvage things. It's a lot of projects that obviously want and need the real revenue for them to do anything. Anybody that wants to create an actual true proper success model in this crypto industry needs real revenue. And if they don't have that from the beginning, they're scamming you. Get out, run.
Right.
Anyway.
You're absolutely right. But there are so many protocols out there that, have people with silver tongues who are able to kind of talk their investors round. They do raise a bit of money. One of the things in your recent announcements is that you kind of said that you guys are always looking at the space to see what kind of protocols are doing things well, but also bad. Do you ever find yourselves approaching some of these protocols, in particular, maybe the bot trading ones, that you are sniffing out the bullshit and saying, right, I'm not really convinced your operation is working in the way that you're claiming it is? And do you ever quietly approach them to say, look, we've got something that we can prove, 18 months of green trading. Perhaps we can step in and help you you've got the investors in. We obviously don't want anybody scammed in this space, and we're trying to clean it up for the better and have only good actors. Do you approach them and say, look, why don't you start to look at us as a viable option for what you're doing?
Yeah, that's one of the strategies we have been doing, because like Warfi's motto is, we're waging war on the DeFi space to get these bad actors out. And at the end of the day, a lot of people start projects with good intentions, but they don't realize how bad it can go really quickly with these emissions that they're offering,
Right.
So we really do try and I'm not going to name shame anybody here, but
Sure.
I do. I'm me. I don't keep quiet. And my tongue is obviously direct, and unfortunately sometimes the truth hurts. So when we do go up to these projects, be like, hey, listen here, I can smell bullshit a mile away.
Right.
Rather obviously start making real yield, because down the line your investors will hurt. All right. And stop taking so many big chances and this and that, actually work for your community. And we do go up to them and we do offer them the real yield, and we say, listen here, this is something that can actually help your project, and something that can obviously, help your investors. Because if you do well, if you think you're doing well, you've made $1 million, great, cool. You can take this to 10 million, you can take it to 20 million. If you do it right and play by what you're trying to set up, and not just look for a quick grab, or, actually take it serious. And if you actually have that real yield coming from somewhere, and it's not just a Ponzi, and, you're promising things that you can't actually promise, you're going to run into trouble. And that's where we've come to this conclusion of, we would rather be proactive and go find these projects and offer them a solution before the shit hits the fan, so to say.
And that's a really great approach to take. And I agree with the naming and shaming. I don't think it's always healthy. Certainly not during a conversation like this, right? A Q&A where it can then kind of spread through the ether as people jump into different discourses. Oh, did you hear what he said here? Or did you see what he said there?
Exactly. And that's just causing more fun. And you could be taking a good actor that, yes, they might have done something a little bit misguided that can easily be fixed. I've seen projects die in a day, that was a good project that was on the turning point and about to be 100% sustainable, but there were 99%, there were 1% there, but somebody causes a little bit of FUD and a project can die in the matter of days. So there's no need to name and shame. I mean, I've done that once or twice when I believe there was really bad actors, and I got a bit of heat from it as well. My name kind of came back because I was right, and people said thank you. A couple of people got out before the time, and I could see it was just a pure Ponzi. But I do believe in also not creating that FUD. So I've taken the approach of going to them directly. Obviously, I've been banned from 1 or 2 Discords, but I mean, that's just the essence of it. Trying to help the space clean out bad actors, you're always going to get pushback, and that's just the moral of the story. At the end of the day, is we try and do our best, but at the same time, we can only help so many people that are willing to listen.
Right, agreed. And yeah, it is the nature of the beast that if you're asking tough questions and people don't like what you're asking, you might get banned, and that maybe is an indicator that those questions were valid. One of the thoughts that I had is, as you guys grow and as more and more people adopt what you guys have going on, at what point is there a responsibility on your shoulders to say, well, we've given it X amount of pushes in this direction to this particular protocol, and you might see a protocol growing in popularity at any given time. We can probably name a couple. I won't name any, but we could probably name a couple that are, suddenly skyrocketing out of nowhere, and you're looking at them thinking, are you really able to sustain what you're offering? Is there going to come a point where you guys are going to say to yourselves, right, now that we are positioning ourselves with this massive responsibility, we are waging war on DeFi, it's about time we give people X amount of chances to come clean or adopt something that does work, or we are going to have to start saying, right, these guys don't hit our trust list and these guys do hit our trust list?
So it's a very fine line to obviously take that approach, because you don't want to come across as, that person that starts FUD. But there is a point, like you say, where that fine line on the other side of it, where you want to try and protect the investors as much as you can.
Right.
The first approach is literally calling people out, because that's the thing. People don't realize the blockchain doesn't lie. You're paying out admissions, your money's coming in somehow. I mean, obviously you've got a DApp, we could track the wallet, we could track the funds. Money's coming out somehow. We can see how you're just switching the money around and playing with it and, just dripping it to people, the money that they've put in. So it's a complete Ponzi. So most of the stuff is quite easy to detect. And if they think they can just move it across to a central exchange and we can't find it, there's ways. I'm not going to give away the secret source. It might be a bit illegal, but anyway.
No, but of course, there are going to be ways in which you can track. I just think at some point I can see you guys really having this central point of responsibility. And I imagine there's going to be a lot of people that are going to start looking to you guys for guidance in where they perhaps should go for good actors and where they should go for bad. So it's just interesting to hear your thoughts on whether or not that you want to start FUD. And I hate the word FUD, because asking difficult questions doesn't have to mean it's creating fear or uncertainty, right? It just means that you're asking questions you need an answer to because you want to protect your investment. So I just wondered how you guys might approach that.
So I got a great way of approaching that without actually causing any FUD. And this is what we found. That's why I said to you, and I've been saying this for obviously months, even a year, is that the good actors need to come together. Because if you know where all the good actors are, never step out of bounds. Don't get out that circle. And the reason is, if you've got guys like me, AJ, a couple obviously great projects, and okay, these guys are the ones actually doing something, and they're all tied into these. And eventually, if you find all the good projects tied together in a way, all right, hint, hint, nudge, I was talking to AJ before this call.
Yes.
If you've got all the obviously projects together and somehow obviously, collaborating, and hey, these guys are the partners, these are my partners, it's all the same people. Okay. But why haven't you partnered with them? Well, we feel we're partnered with good actors. So you're indirectly saying to people, we've spoken to them already. They are what they are. You read into that whatever you will, but the good actors are all here.
Right.
So you don't have to name and shame anybody, but you can at least show people where the actual true people that are building in this space are. And you've got the obviously, how can I say, we've got the trust built over 18 months.
Right. Yes,
So at the end of the day, you can use or to lose it. I mean, we can only do so much, but I think to stay away from that FUD thing and going too hard and just getting into protocols and being like, hey, you're bad actors, you're scamming people. Like, if a project gets to a substantial amount where people are going to, we don't want another yield node situation, right? I mean,
Right.
that's just too many millions. So if we see a project that's already, nearing that couple million mark, and we can see that they're bad actors, then yes, of course, we need to step in and just warn people and keep warning people. Maybe we should create a YouTube channel, me and you. What do you think, man? And then we'll just be like calling
Let's do
people
it.
out.
Calling people out in the background. I'm a bit loose or more loose with that in the respect that because I don't have a protocol, we're part of a space that just speaks to people. I'm a bit freer to call people out, and I don't mind it on occasion. But I like that you are not going to, bounce in somewhere and try and call FUD. You are aware that you don't want to hurt the investors, and ultimately, all that happens is, irrespective of your approach, and something isn't doing well, the investors get hurt. Part of that
Exactly.
is being very strict with who you are going to partner with and who your name is associated with.
Mhm.
One of the questions I suppose you're going to get is what kind of vetting process are you guys going through in order to say, right, these are the kind of people we are prepared to work with? And has there ever been a protocol you think can be successful, but perhaps on a personal level, or there's something with the team lead that you don't quite like, and you just think, you know what, actually, this is going to make things messier than we need it to be for us. We actually don't need your business. We're going to walk away from this.
Yeah, so we've walked away from a couple already. Okay, and like I said, I'm not going to name and shame. There's no point
Right.
in that right now. But at the end of the day, we are realistic, and we do see obviously our name associated with others, and we need to obviously be careful with that because we've branded ourselves as being the most transparent, trustworthy team, and we've got the facts to prove it. We've got revenue being paid out to investors for 18 months. I mean, that if that doesn't show transparency and the most fully, doxed, transparent, in your face, here we go, here's all the information, then I don't know what would be. So
Right.
yes, at the end of the day, there is obviously that level of, urgency when it comes to these other bad actors, but at the same light, there is that subtleness that you have, the subtle approach that you have to take to safeguard the investors, as you say, because either way you could hurt them.
Right. And yeah, 18 months. We're going to say it, I'm sure, several times over during this Q&A. 18 months is huge. To be able to show that you've got 18 months of profit trading is absolutely massive. One of the pushbacks you might get is as you are building out your ecosystem, as you're building out your partnerships, an element of centralization might start to occur where people automatically are going to be forced to gravitate towards you because of the pull you have and because of how successful you are and the people you're working with. With that in mind, are you guys all coming together, some very bright minds, especially someone like AJ, are you guys coming together to figure out how you can keep it as decentralized as possible in that respect?
100%. I mean, you see what obviously AJ is doing with some of the stuff he's doing. You see some of the stuff we're doing. It's all decentralized at the end of the day. It's all there to obviously keep people obviously out of the financial system because we all know how crazy that is. The banks these days, you never know if your money's actually there. I was watching a video of somebody that had millions in the bank and they couldn't even withdraw more than $250 at a time, because the bank just doesn't have the cash. Somebody
Right.
tried to draw 20K. They went into the bank. This is not an ATM. They went into the bank. And the most they could get out of their millions of dollars was 20 grand. Imagine
Right.
you've got millions. You can't transfer it out. You can't do this. You can't do your bank has hold your funds hostage. But anyway, so the thing is to stay decentralized is very key. Okay. But at the same time, like I always said, the investors can be completely anonymous, but the players and the protocol founders, they can't be anonymous, right? And I've always said
Right.
that it's for the masses to be decentralized because people don't know if I'm in EMP, people don't even know if I'm in whatever project, right? That's decentralized. You don't know me as an investor. I'm still decentralized as an investor. But as project leads, you know who the founder is of Tesla. You know who the founder is of SpaceX. And you need to know that, right? Because that's how proper companies work. But the people underneath, the people using your platform, don't need to be known. And that's what's so nice that we don't need to have all that information of everybody and keep to that because everybody here is coming to this space for safety. And we need to keep pushing that agenda because, I mean, if they're not going to feel safe here, where do they go to next?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Where do they go to next? I think it's going to be a very tough juggling act. I'm sure one that you guys are going to relish the opportunity of trying. And you guys are doing very well at the moment. You mentioned, people with millions in the bank not being able to get the money that they want out. One of the things that you guys have coming, especially with your own project, is obviously the marketplace, and that marketplace is going to allow people to exit their entire position if they want to by selling it. Do you want to talk me through how that's going to work?
So there's a couple different tiers, so the marketplace, what we've done is we've structured it, in a couple different ways. And firstly, the marketplace is there that people can, peer to peer, obviously sell their trading pool. All right. And get out quicker than, because at the end of the day, our treasury is only so large. Okay. So we offering obviously certain tiers of NFTs, that directly trade with the actual treasury. That way you can get out in 2 minutes if you wanted to. Other tiers, obviously, and lower tiers that there's so many people, we obviously put it on a marketplace that they can put it there. The next person coming in takes their obviously trading pool off their hands. Very simple. But then there's also stuff like, hey, you want to get out, but you want to get out directly into fiat. We're working on our marketplace. So people don't even know this. We haven't even announced it yet. But, we've got partnerships going. People know that they can buy into our project, our protocol with credit cards. Eventually, it might be a month or two, but eventually that money will go straight back into their credit card. If they want to pull out, we're actually working with these obviously providers, not only for the on-ramp side, but for the off-ramp side directly into their bank accounts as well. Right. So we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot in the background, and the marketplace is going to have a little bit of everything, but it is going to take time. And you know what? People ask when. And you know me, the first thing I tell people is, listen here, we're trusted for 18 months, okay? Doesn't matter when. We're obviously a man of our word, and we've obviously been working on stuff. Everything we've said that we've ever going to do or build, or our word has been kept every single time. Yes, there might have been a day delay here, 2 days delay there, but those are things that happen because at the end of the day, this is still a new space. This is obviously still, as they say, experimental, and we're still obviously trying to navigate the crypto space. But at the end of the day, it all goes back to fiat, and these banks we still have to rely on to a degree for now. Until obviously the whole world accepts crypto, fiat is still what people are obviously buying their groceries with. Some people are buying crypto, with crypto, but a lot of people are still using fiat. So we're working on that avenue as well. But at the end of the day, as long as it's safe, that's right. The most important.
And what's interesting, I guess, is as you bring in more protocols, there's going to be more discords that people have to monitor. I wonder if you guys are perhaps starting to think and work towards a central hub of information, as well as where people can sell on, off ramp, etc. Are you guys thinking about how you can start delivering the information on what you're doing centrally, so that people only have to go to one spot rather than perhaps have 1,800 squares and circles sitting on the left-hand side?
Yeah. So what the next thing we're doing is we're currently developing a new product that we're going to be bringing out probably in the next 3 to 4 weeks. But instead of creating a whole new Discord for it, this new product will stay within the Warfi ecosystem and on the same Discord as well. A lot of people might have already known about Gladiators, okay? And that was obviously our validator nodes. Warfi and its treasury since the beginning has been going into real revenue, okay? Which means from our trading bots to actual mining to validator nodes and everything like that. And we want to offer something where is very unique when it comes to, people want to be able to build their own portfolio. Like imagine when you go to your broker and you're saying, hey, I want to be part of that, and that. And your broker sets it up for you. A lot of these projects are still very limited. And what we're planning on doing is if you want to have your own crypto portfolio, let's say you want to be DCAing every month, you want your portfolio to be 10% Bitcoin, 10% Ethereum, 10% XRP. We're creating something like that people will actually be paid out in all these different coins, even though they're from different chains. It's going to be a multi-chain product that's going to allow people to obviously be building their bags in all these different coins through one actual product. So that's some alpha there for people to obviously know that, if you like DAG, if you like Flux, if you like XRP, if you like Bitcoin, right. These are all things that are going to be available within one project, and you can obviously set your own portfolio. So there might be, 40, 50 different coins to choose from, but hey, these are my favorite. But the next guy might not want your coins. He wants 5 other different coins. But that's why we obviously have a big variety that people can start building their own portfolio within this space and start building those bags up, because the bull run is coming, Right. And projects like ours do well in the bull run because of obviously first the trading side. Yes, volume and volatility is key for our bots to do better. It's not the be all and end all, but it is a big, obviously, part of it. And that's obviously something that's going to make our returns even better. But at the same time, it's not like our trading bot can offer you a meme coin pump, or what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin will 10x in from now until obviously the top of the bull run. It's not like you can 10x with trading. Trading is obviously a smart passive income play that you do for long term, where people also still need to be having a part of their portfolio into building their bags for the bull run. So we want to hit the space from crypto at all angles, and we believe having obviously our own nodes, our own, with the blockchain, our own mining kits, our everything yield rights, staking. We do all of that already. But instead of offering them actual part of that, we want to obviously offer them part of actually getting their hands on the coins that they want to actually build up, and have it in a passive income way where you only have to do one investment, but now you're DCAing into these actual coins on a monthly basis. And that's what's amazing. You don't even have to worry. You put one investment now, in 10 years, you come back, you've had, 20 months of obviously DCAing into the product that you obviously thought was going to be key in the bull run. You've already stacked up one Bitcoin, one Ethereum, 100 XRP, for example, whatever your portfolio was. And now you can see the fruits of that labor, in the bull run that you already bought one investment 2 years ago. So it's a cool product that's coming, and yeah, we obviously like to keep people diversified, but this goes back to the first topic of the bad actors in the space, because I'm the first person to tell you a smart investor diversifies. You don't have a full bag in one thing. So why don't we know we're good actors? Let's communicate with all the good actors.
Right.
You've already seen we've worked with Hybrid Bond, we've worked with Warhaven, we're working with AJ from EMP, we're working with all these teams, and we need to say, hey, here's a diversification model, right? That you could stick within a good ecosystem. You still get to all the good things you want. You want passive income. You want to build your bags on all these different coins, but do it within the good actors. And we will help create that so that we know they're not going to these other scammy projects that are launching every day, and we'll rather keep them within the ecosystem that they know and trust.
Right. And I think that will be a very exciting angle to take. You actually answered one of the questions I was going to have, because listening to you speak at times and looking at your announcements, you guys are constantly dropping little Easter eggs about what you're doing and how you're building out. And one of the questions that you did ask in your announcements is, what tokens might people be hodling for and looking to accumulate? And I think you're kind of already alluding to the fact that that's the direct, well, you've outright said that's the direction that you're going to be going in some of the stuff that you're building. So I think people are going to be very excited to see that built out.
Yeah.
How instrumental was Shiny to you guys in terms of having that exclusive partnership? If I circle back to kind of the top of this conversation, and you mentioning the exclusivity that you guys have there, is that maybe your boom moment when you guys secured that exclusive deal with him, and you guys knew no one else was going to be able to take advantage of what was going on there? It was going to be solely through you guys.
You see, we've been looking for good actors in this space for a long time, right? And we noticed obviously what Shiny was doing with his trading bots, and we were obviously still meddling with ours, and ours were obviously good, but we were coming from it from a different angle. And so was Shiny and his team. So when we made this exclusive partnership, it wasn't just obviously sharing what he had with us, it was sharing what we had with him. So at the end of the day, we were able to take, like you could say, two sides of the coin to put it together. All right. And that's what's been a winner. But not just that. Then you look at the marketing side of things, where we've brought in a guy like James Pelton, which is also a partner. And that way you've got this three-pronged approach where you've got guys that have obviously been in the trading side, and we've got guys that have been in the crypto side. You've got guys that have been in the marketing side. So we've built up a very good team. I mean, like I said, we've got over 12 actual permanent employees just on the trading side alone. And that's with Shiny's guys, with our guys. So we've got guys watching our bots 24/7 to adjust them 24/7, because market conditions change literally every single day. So yes, I'm going to give Shiny 100% of the credit when it comes to that side as well, because he's an instrumental part of what Warfi is doing. And it's not to say he wouldn't give the same benefit and the same obviously praise to us, because it's really worked well, and we wouldn't have been able to be as successful without each other. So yes, he's an amazing, obviously, what he's done. His team is amazing, from the technical analysts to the actual guys that are from the economic side. we can look at obviously all factors, and the fact that they've obviously been able to, join with us in a way that we can obviously share all our knowledge, but from different angles, it's really given us an advantage of being still, I believe, the number one actual real revenue generating project. I mean,
Right.
yes, there's other bot projects out there, and yes, there's one or two that might do a better percent this month or that month, but don't be fooled. I can see the back end, and I know where obviously the blockchain doesn't lie. So I'll still, for now, call us the best. And these projects are more than welcome to come out and call me out. And if they want to make it public, I could show all the details as well.
Well, if they want to
But
call
anyway.
you out, they can come on this stage, and you guys can go toe to toe. And I'll try
Yeah,
my
I'm
best
more
to be
than
the ringmaster.
Yeah, more than welcome. And then what we could do is we can even, put the camera on and let's see if they really get their face out. That should already tell you something. Secondly, let's also share our screens, and we go on the blockchain and we'll follow the money in those projects. They can do it with ours. I'm happy to do that anytime. All my whales in my community that have talked to me, obviously they've seen my face, they see me talking, they've gone through the actual accounts where all the money is held with me. I'd love to hear if another obviously admin or any other CEO has done that of one. And there's one or two good actors out there. I'm not saying all of them are obviously bad, but for the amount of experience we got, it doesn't just mean, you've got 2% higher returns, you're better than us. No, we've been here a long time, and we obviously have our expertise, and you might be earning 1% more, but that means you've got a little bit more risk than us that we're not willing to take. So first comes safety for our investors, and that's what's obviously built us to be so successful for now.
Right, sure. Yeah, it certainly sounds like it was a perfect storm of great minds coming together and people with good products that just needed to find one another in order to create something, truly sustainable and that was going to have real longevity. But we did talk about doxing, and one of the questions you're inevitably going to get, and I'm sure you've been asked this several times, is someone like Shiny being so instrumental, is he doxed? And if he isn't, is that something that you're doing as a way of protecting kind of like the second layer of what you guys are doing? Or is that something that you're working towards whereby eventually you're kind of going to slow drip the information so people can really see what's going on underneath the hood?
Like, I've got people working for me that are doxed to me, and that's all I need. I'm the
Right.
one who controls all the money. Nobody else in my obviously administration controls the money but me. So I'm 100% doxed, as I should be. Adi is 100% doxed to me. I know his children. He knows my children. If he feels he doesn't want his face out there, that's fine, because he doesn't obviously control the money of the accounts. All he does is control the trading bots. All right. So at the end of the day, I agree, yes, the project founder, the person who's controlling the money, I would love them to be doxed. Every people know they know my house address. I mean, you go through our papers that we've put out before, you literally know where I live. And that's the type of transparency we give people. But that doesn't mean everybody working in our team. I don't expect my person that does my admin or does my spreadsheets to obviously now dox themselves. They don't have to. They dox themselves to me. Not one person in my administration is not doxed to me. I have every single person's ID, passport, home address, bank statements. Every single one that works for me. And I will not work with somebody if I don't know that information.
Right.
But
And
that's the level of safety and security I take, because I've promised my community they are not going to lose money with us. And even though they don't control, obviously, the money itself, they can control FUD. And FUD can hurt a project, but it's not hurting ours.
Now I'll ask a question that I can already imagine I already imagine the answer that I'm going to get. One of the things people might say is, well, if you get on with these guys, if you do know their families and something goes wrong or they don't play nice, how prepared are you going to be to say, right, I need to take action? As much as I might get on with you, I like you, what you've done here has not been correct, and I'm going to need to step in. I do have this information. It is my responsibility to these investors to step forward and do something about this with the information I have to hand.
Well, at the end of the day, that's why I've kept it so tight. There's only one person that actually has the keys to the kingdom. And if something happens to me, then there's obviously safeguards where my wife has the information. My wife knows Adi, my wife knows Andrew, which is my 2IC and second in charge at Warfi, but nobody else handles the keys, the money, anything but me. So nothing can go wrong with people's money. Let's say, for example, what other event is there that could hurt investors? There's a rogue person in our Discord. Well, I own the Discord. I kick them out. If there's something happens to the bots where one of them misfunctions, all that information goes through me, and I double check it before it gets activated. So at the end of the day, I put my name on the line. At the end of the day, it's not about throwing somebody out in the bus, because we see projects do that all the time. Oh,
Right.
guys, the trader's fault we lost money. Actually, he's also taken money, and he's now just throwing because you guys are doing badly and your Ponzi's coming to an end. Oh, no, the trader ran off with the money. Bullshit. Take accountability. You hired that trader. So it's me at the end of the day. All right. And if anything would ever happen to this project, people can come after me. And I'm confident in saying that because nothing will ever happen to this project. These people that keep blaming everybody else, bad actor, straight away. Never work with him again. If you can't take responsibility for the company, do you really think, if something happens now and, somebody obviously has a hard-hitting questions or whatever the case might be, that you can't stand the line of fire? You're the CEO. Then why did you obviously get that person in without knowing everything? If you can't put 100% trust into your people that you're working with, why did you hire them?
Right. Yeah,
So,
it's a good point. And one of the most valuable lessons I ever learned in business is that you can only ever pass the blame up, never down. Right. And what you're talking about speaks very much to that, which is that at the end of the day, the person sitting right at the very top is the one that needs to shoulder the responsibility when things go wrong. And perhaps that's questions for them to ask themselves: did I hire the right person? Was that the person? Was that the route that I should have gone? And taking that accountability is key. It's funny. I'm watching the questions, and I see Serenity kind of teasing me a little bit about this doxing conversation, because I have mixed feelings on whether or not this space truly needs people to be doxed. I'm kind of sit in the camp that I don't necessarily always think it does. I think it can operate without fully doxing people. And I think you guys are working in that environment almost, whereby there are some people that don't want to be doxed for whatever reason, but privately they are to you as the lead of the project. And therefore that's enough for you, because at the end of the day, you are saying, well, when things go wrong, not when, if things go wrong, you are the one that's going to be prepared to step forward and say, right, that's my responsibility. It's on my shoulders.
100%. And that's why I say I take it for decentralized is decentralized. It means you can stay anonymous. All right. And I've always said this: by all means, everybody, your mods, your people who work for you, the people who work in the thing, but there needs to be somebody that you can hold accountable. If there isn't that in a project, then you might as well be talking to AI bots that are stealing your money.
Right.
How do you know? How do you know that it's actually a person that hasn't got on a video, doxed themselves, given the information out, completely KYC'd? If you don't have at least one person like that, who are you actually holding responsible for this project? I believe, and this is my personal point, is that the head should be doxed, should be held accountable. Because if you're the head, if you're the CEO and the founder, the people you're bringing in that could cause harm, you brought them in. So you should be held responsible for their bad actions. That's what a good leader is all about. So yes, people can by all means stay obviously, anonymous, even the people working for a project, but the person at the top should be doxed at least.
Right.
That's my bare minimum. And when I work with people, I dox. They don't have to dox to the community, but they have to dox to me. Otherwise, I just don't work.
Given the size of your success, is KYC something that you're going to go down the route of perhaps doing for other communities? I mean, you look around the space, there are plenty of people that offer that kind of service, and sometimes it's not worth the electricity cost cost to generate the form that they give people, right? Because it can be cheated, it can be worked around. So in order to create the safe space that you want, is that also a direction that you're thinking about going in?
I do it myself personally.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't trust me to work with me, right, that I will not give out your information. I'm working with how many different projects, all right? At the end of the day, either they are doxed already, or KYC'd already, or they've personally KYC'd and doxed to me. That's the only time I work with people.
Right. You raised a good point about what could bring the protocol down, or what could be a chink in the armor. I know that there are major things that you can discuss that are going to be things that could go wrong. If we kind of narrow it down, is there anything that you see as a potential point of not failure, but a problem that you're always trying to solve? Take centralized exchanges, for example. Do you worry about the money that sits on there? Are you constantly moving it around to ensure that you're not overexposed somewhere that you shouldn't be? There must be a lot of monitoring that happens in the current climate to ensure that you're not stuck somewhere that suddenly halts withdrawals out of nowhere?
Yes. So at the end of the day, let's be honest. We've all been through FTX, all right?
Right.
And that is a potential worry. So the platforms that we use, and we use Bybit, we use Binance, we are constantly monitoring them. The first sign of weakness, okay, and a lot of people, for example, and that was the big problem with the model before. You can say with trading.me and Shiny, you sell the bots to people. Yes, you can still manage them, but at the end of the day, they have now the control of moving those funds in and out of that CEX. Okay, but people are not always around in their PC like we are. So it was a better model that we control the funds, okay? Because we know at the end of the day, we're watching it 24/7. We've literally hired people, 4 people. We got a day and night, a day team and a night team. We've got 4
Right.
people that watch these stuff constantly and all the channels that we need to watch to make sure the slightest form of a little bit of, no, we don't take a chance. We move our money off that exchange before anybody else can. And we do that because, like we said, the first and utmost is I would rather make 0% rewards in a month because we thought we saw something that might potentially lead to something, even if it wasn't. It was FUD, right? And everybody's just fudding a certain exchange. We would have rather been safe and earned no rewards for that month because we didn't want people to lose money than now, people complaining about, oh, we didn't earn rewards this month. But I promise you, it would have been a lot worse if you got rugged and you lost all your money. So
Right.
we are monitoring that constantly. Yes, we also obviously using, stable coins in some of these trading. That could also be a potential worry. So our finger is to the pulse when it comes to the specific stable coins we're using, as well as the exchanges. But other than that, I mean, if something like, big, obviously, let's say stablecoin, that's a big black swan event. But if you can see it coming and you can see the signs, and that's why we've got macro economists that are looking at these things 24/7 to make sure that we're staying on top of the game. And that way we offer that extra source of security that the normal investor can't do by themselves because they have day jobs. They've got lives. Our day jobs for that specific person is to watch the market for that specific thing 24/7. That's why we've got a night and a day team to do this. So that we have, identified where our faults could be, and we've used FTX as an example because that is something that is very real. But that's why we've got guys on it 24/7, as I say.
Right. One of the questions asked is going to be, have you ever encountered major losses while you've been using these bots? And do you then, what is it you're doing in the background to make up for those losses in order to finish that month green?
Never had a loss, not one red trade.
Right.
And the reason is, like I said, because of the strategies we run. So the market will always come up and down. Bitcoin can run up now to 50K. All right. Let's say I bought in now. What's Bitcoin sitting at now? 27 something? Right?
I haven't checked today, but maybe yes.
Okay. So what I do is now, let's say, for example, I take a long and a short at the same time, 2 different separate bots, 2 separate accounts on Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up to, let's say, 50K. So my long bot, yes, done well. I've made a lot of profit. Hey, but your negative, your short bot is obviously losing money. All right. Bitcoin is not going to just go from 50K to 100K. It's going to first come back down to, let's say, 40. But it's not going to get back down to 25 so you can get your money out. But what do? We DCA, you put money into that account more so that it obviously takes your obviously profit loss margin up. So if it at least comes down from 50 to 40, you can get out without losing money. So you haven't lost on a trade, all right? You DCA'd into that same losing trade to make sure that you get out of it when the market does come down from 50 to 40. It's come down enough that you've put money in so that you never lose a trade. So you've made a lot of money on the up because that was the major one. And then you took out another short at the top. So each stage we're taking out longs and shorts at every single point. All right. And you can DCA out of obviously your losing trade if you've got enough capital. Hence why we say we're focusing on obviously big money coming in, because the more capital we've got, the safer it becomes. But I mean, 18 months now, not one losing trade. And I'm that's no lie, no bullshit, not one losing trade because of the strategy we employ.
Right. Again, it's a massive. It's a massive amount of history to be able to fall back on. It's going to be a struggle for anyone like myself to pick holes. So where do you identify the biggest major risk to you guys on a You know, I don't mean a grand level. I'm not talking about a total collapse of the market. I'm not talking about something like Binance completely going bust. There must be something that you are always identifying, but looking at very closely at the moment and saying to yourself, I want to work with these guys that, you know, are the bright minds in the backgrounds, these other protocol leads, to really plug that hole and make sure that we are getting this as ironclad as it can be.
So, that falls back a little bit on the last question, and yes, we look at the exchanges that we're on, but we also look at the new regulations and requirements going onto those exchanges. So we've got a close, obviously, finger on the pulse, as it be, when it comes to the regulations from each country and what exchanges are in which country, because that could determine certain policies that get changed within those CEXs, and that's something that we're obviously keeping our eye on as well. So not just the exchange itself, but the rules and regulations and the T's and C's required by these certain exchanges, because that could obviously play a role as well. For example, if you're using a certain exchange that has its own token, you're trading that token, now all of a sudden, hey, news comes in that, sorry, every single user, it's not decentralized anymore, you have to KYC to use us. Well, everybody sells the shit out of that token, then what? So there's a big difference between just a market going up and down, like Bitcoin was at 69, it's come back down to 20, it's gone back up to 30. At the end of the day, that's handleable. But if a coin just goes completely down to zero, first of all, that was our responsibility. That's why we only trade blue chips that we know can't go to zero. But let's say, for example, the SEC sues a specific token that we're trading, and it's going to go to zero, you better get out of it quickly. So these are the things that we constantly watching that could be a potential risk to us. But as you can see, it's not really big risk, and as long as you're obviously watching the right channels, you can be ahead of this stuff as well.
Right. So would it be safe to say that on a micro level, one of the only major issues that you might face is not having enough staff? And do you build out the amount of staff that you have on board prior to you getting to a point where you need them? Because I know a lot of businesses will run on the basis that, well, they will try and maximize what their staff are doing first. But in this instance, especially when it comes to data monitoring, information monitoring, news monitoring, it's always going to be important to have as many people as you can, I suppose. Would you say that would be one of the issues? And how often are you building out your team?
Well, that's why I said we've got up to 12 people in that regard. That's not including the moderators. That's not including Andrew. And at the end of the day, we hire a person before we need it, right? And then you fill their workload. Okay, so you've always got somebody, because there's always work, always.
Right.
And I might be too busy and I need to rely on somebody else. That means his job would go to somebody else. So you rather have somebody that's completely free and only doing a certain something, and half his day is not needed, because there might be that day when it is needed. And if his day starts getting filled up, well, you bring the next guy in before his day is filled up. So the last guy is never completely have a full workload. And that's how I run my real world businesses as well, not just my crypto businesses, but because you've got to have the staff to handle an influx. So if we're preparing for an influx, let's say now we're getting another 2 big projects in for $1 million a pop, I'm going to feel safer to obviously hire those people before the deal is done, so that we can have constant guys watching those bots as well. So yes, I believe in hiring them first before it even gets to that point.
Great. Insurance is going to be something that also crops up. I know a lot of protocols at the moment are starting to lean towards looking for insurance, whether it be a built-in insurance that they're creating via taxes, or whether it be something, a third party that they go to. Is that something that you guys are going to start thinking about putting in place as you guys get bigger and bigger, so that the investors truly know, right, we are actually not just in something that has only ever shown green trade, but it's fully insured if a catastrophe happens?
Once the industry and regulations get further along, that is something we can look into. For now, the way we've been managing it, it's not necessary. Let's say we'll use real world insurance as an example. All right, you take out insurance on your car because of a possible car crash, right? How do you get into a car crash? There's distractions on the road. There might be other cars. It might not even be your fault. The other car causes the accident. But you can take yourself out of situations. If you're in a car, but now you're not in the city, you're on the country where there's nobody else on the road, then it's just the way you drive. All right. So we take ourselves out of those situations, and that's what we've been doing all this time. We foresee everything before it happens. We make sure we plan ahead. So we haven't really needed insurance. And that's why, because we've had 18 months of the way we run things of only green months, not one losing trade. So I agree. Yes, it could be a great safety net that you could obviously have eventually when you become larger. But until regulations are 100% out there and how those sectors work, it's still risky. And I've seen other protocols pay for insurance, and the time came, and they're just like, "No, sorry, we're not helping you." Then
Right.
what?
Yeah.
Because it's just a protocol that is also an experiment. So once it's actually a regulated thing and it becomes a big thing, there's no need to do it because you're just throwing money away if it's not 100% viable anyway.
Right. And I like that you bring up regulation. I think that's an undervalued point that people don't often look at. And I like that you guys are very much considering that, because I think this space is going to be, entirely geared around whatever regulation might come through, and not moving before that comes in is, as important as moving with it without, right? When people start to move in the direction of regulation, for example, the SEC versus XRP, the outcome of that is also going to shape this particular space as well. And I think watching out for how that plays out is also vital.
Yeah, well, I'm watching it closely because I'm an XRP maxi.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, no, I've got huge bags of XRP. But anyway, that besides the point. But we're watching stuff like that very closely because at the end of the day, we might not like the regulation, but it's better to get ahead of it and let it work for you than just being upset. It's like that
Right.
kid in the corner knowing the information before everybody else. You could either be upset about it and cry in the corner, or you can use the information that you've been given before everybody else. So that's why we keep our finger to the pulse on these things, because you can still use the information. You might not like it, but you can still get ahead of it and use it to the best advantage that you can before everybody else does.
Right. In terms of transparency, can your investors track your trades?
On an individual level, no.
Yes.
Like not
Okay.
go into the CEX and track it. And that's obviously because our bots are directly linked to that. Anybody would then be able to copy what we're doing. And we've been so successful for a reason, because, there's not a lot of people doing what we're doing and how we're doing it. I mean, I've given out a lot of different things now in this AMA, how we're doing certain things. So if people can work out the maths behind that, and it's not as simple as I say it is, but we obviously show everything on screen. A couple of YouTube videos, I actually go into the actual trades that has been done. I go into my actual accounts. I show where the money's lying. So yes, they can obviously see it on what I show them, but it's not like they have access to it where they can take the APIs and start getting the background information, because that's just stupid. Once again, it's a whole docs story. You dox yourself and your team to a certain point. Like I say, the leader obviously, yes, docs, make sure you're known. And that obviously safeguards that and safeguards the security of the investors. But that doesn't mean you need to know my janitor's name,
Right.
or my. It's to a certain level, and the level is there for obviously security, not just for the investors, but for us as well. But at the end of the day, I do show all that stuff back-ended, but with very limited, obviously, capability that they can't just go do it themselves, because then we're just opening ourselves up for attacks and hacks. A lot of people that were good actors and try to show and give out information where they can see active trades on a daily basis, that's exactly how they got hacked, is because that information is obviously through APIs. And APIs you can do a lot of stuff with. So we're very careful when it comes to our people's money, because it's one thing, obviously, being transparent and, hey, go look through every single trade. Here's the APIs that connect you to it, and those same APIs are used to hack your protocol. You thought you were being a bad actor, but you didn't look ahead, and those same APIs were used to hack your protocol. So at the end of the day, it's a fine line. It's a fine line.
Well, it's a comprehensive answer too, and I think being security conscious is also key. And people perhaps overlook that aspect of it, right? That if you give out too much information, you start to create security problems for yourself that aren't necessary. And I guess you're always going to fall back on, well, we've had 18 months of green trading, so that should be the proof that you need at this point. And each month that goes by that we continue to do that, we are just proving out, stronger and stronger how successful we are at what we're doing.
Exactly.
A lot of people here are going to be interested in some juicy alpha, some serious alpha. I know you kind of said that you had a conversation with AJ earlier. Before we get to that point, one of the questions I asked you when you and I first ever spoke was, is there ever going to get to a point with Warfi where you're going to congratulate yourself? You're going to sit back and say, you know what, I reached that point, and well done me. That's one of the milestones that I wanted to get to, and I'm really glad that I got here, and I'm going to congratulate myself. Have you reached that point yet? Is there something that you can look back on that you thought to yourself, you know what, I wanted to get here, I thought it was important to get here, there were doubts niggling at the back of my mind as I was building out. I was determined, but I didn't necessarily know if I 100% would. And now that we're here, well done.
So it's a tricky, and I'm going to say the reason why this is a tricky answer is because it should always be yes and it should always be no.
Right.
I'll never hit that point, right? Because I'm a developer. I always want something better. I'm somebody that wants to always push the boundaries. But at the same time, I do realizing, you got to support, celebrate those small wins because they
Exactly.
lead and build you and everything like that. So that's why I say always no, because I'm never fully where I want to be. I always want better, and I always want better for my community. But always yes, because we're doing great things already. I mean, that's why we've stood out. I'm proud of the fact that we've got this transparency. I'm proud of the fact that each month comes along, we've got another, obviously, month of green trading, through transparency, great community. We're giving out, obviously, so much. And every single month I hit that point when people actually are getting hard-earned dollars in their wallet. It just builds that trust every single month that they're getting paid out more and more dollars. I mean, some people would have said from day one till we are now, there's no way we can be a Ponzi because we would have paid out everything already,
Right.
So each month that goes along, yes, we celebrate it. Great. Proud of ourselves. We're doing great. But we can always do better. And that's why I'll always say we'll never hit that mark.
Right. I asked that question mainly because I think people often forget, especially when someone is as good a speaker as you, that there is a human being that also sits behind what's being created. And, there are going to be days when things are tough, just from a personal level, right? When you're trying to grind and, maybe you've had to delay information coming out in a certain way and you didn't want to. And I think it's just interesting for investors and people that are listening to hear your own personal thoughts on that, and that you do celebrate those little milestones, and as you should. Each month I imagine is another celebration as you extend that list of months that you have with green trading. So that's a testament to what you guys are building, and you personally, of course. Alpha, there's got to be some juicy stuff that you're going to throw in my direction. Everyone's poised and ready to hear it. What kind of stuff can you tease us with?
Okay.
We had the hoodies last week.
Yeah, the merchandise store is almost upon us, so people will be able to get some merch. But I mean, that's not that big. I mean, it's cool. Yeah, we a couple, crazy fans would get a few things. There's another 2 projects that are obviously launching with Warfi in the next couple of weeks. We've already given out the information about people about getting whatever bags they want and building up their own bags, in whatever coin.
Which is huge.
Which is massive, but small compared to the other stuff that's coming. The thing with AJ, we are going to, on the 1st of June, there will be another Discord for people to start joining. And this is a project that is being worked upon by AJ, all right? And some of the other biggest names in this space, all right? This is all I'm going to ask, okay? I'm going to say 1 or 2 things, and I'm going to leave it mysterious. And people can just imagine how amazing it would be. I mean, okay, remember the start of rebase season, how crazy things went. Rebasing was a phase in DeFi, and it was amazing. People made a lot of money. Yes, there was a lot of people that lost a lot of money as well. Okay, what was the problems for rebasing? Firstly, the price is always going to go down, right?
Right.
So what happens if you've got a rebasing token where the price doesn't go down? That would be amazing.
It would.
The price only ever goes up. So that's all I'm going to say. A token that's 100% backed at all times. You're getting more tokens. It's rebasing at certain points. There's money being injected into the liquidity of the back end. All right. But it's obviously going up and it can never go down. So you guys know, obviously, I'm one of the founders at Up Finance as well, which is a always appreciating token. So imagine a token that can only go up and never go down. The problem with an up token is it needs volume. And that's what a rebasing program has, a lot of volume. So imagine combining the two, a rebase token with an up token that the price can never go down.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
That will be huge, right? I mean, solving the rebasing issue is the holy grail, as David has just said to me in this space. And people shouldn't put it lightly just how, I mean, you guys already, and I'm going to say it for the last time, 18 months of green trading is massive. What you guys have built out is huge. AJ is an incredibly smart individual, and what he's doing is also massive. So I can only imagine what that might entail. That sounds like a very interesting prospect indeed.
Exactly. Imagine solving the problem of rebasing, right?
Right.
Imagine bringing that fun back of rebasing when everybody was going crazy about rebasing, but actually have it when nobody loses money. Not
Right.
one person. That would be something cool.
It would, and I'm very keen to see what that's going to be. And it's a shame AJ's not sitting in the audience, because I would have dragged him on stage and grilled him on it. Tried to drag some more information out.
So let's put it this way, right? Who would you say, what protocol would you say was the king of rebasing?
Oh yeah, okay. It gives me PTSD to say their name, but yes.
But at the end of the day, the people that were involved still have all the experience of rebasing, and they know where it went wrong, and they know obviously how it went wrong, and they know how to fix it to a certain degree. Then you bring in another token, like an always up token, which fixes obviously a price going down in rebasing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you bring them on for that specific reason. People might think, these people have a bad name. That's fine. People can think what they did. At the end of the day, you can use them for that experience to create the next best thing that solves that issue. Because there's nobody better than them themselves that obviously have that information. But anyway,
it's an interesting angle to take. And did you guys deliberately go out to solve this problem, or was it a happy accident? So I won't ask what it is. I won't push any more, because you've already delivered more than enough in terms of alpha. But in terms of your approach, was this something that you guys looked at and thought we can solve this, or did you really just kind of come to get? Oh, you did. Okay.
That was me. The same way, obviously, I tried a specific model on the up token, and we run an up token. We know how well it goes. What does it need? It needs volume, and once that volume dies down, the token appreciation stops. That's what's obviously one of the key necessary things in rebasing. So there's I went out to solve this, and once I got obviously everything sorted, and the big thing is that you've also got trading bots that have been green for 18 months feeding into that same system.
Right.
Yeah. Sure. So what does any token need? It doesn't matter that a rebasing token doesn't go down in price. How do you do that? You need real revenue to pay people out, right?
Right. Yes.
So 18 months of trading green.
So a week and 2 days from now, we're going to have an idea of what that is, are we?
Here we go. Wait
June
and see.
1st. Great. Jason, is there anything I haven't discussed that you want to talk through? Is there anything that you want to bring up that I haven't at this point?
We'll sit here for another 2 hours. I think that's enough for now.
Fair enough.
Oh shit. Yeah.
There hasn't been very many questions coming in. There's been the odd one, and I filtered them in. I think there's one other that perhaps I might ping you in the chats after the conversation so you can answer it. But it's been a fascinating conversation. I always enjoy talking to you. I especially enjoy talking to someone who knows what they're doing inside and out, because it makes my life difficult, and I like that, because it's a challenge to then try and find a unique angle to come at it with. But once again, you've made my life hard.
I appreciate that. I'll take the compliment. And I think at the end of the day, it just shows the experience that the Warfi team have. And it's not just me, it's what we've all been through over 18 months. And at the end of the day, that just shows the caliber of people you're working with. This is not taken like an experiment, like a little project. This is an actual true business company working towards something. And we've been providing that for 18 months. I don't think there's even a handful of projects, not even 5, that can actually say that.
No, they can't, and certainly not to the degree and success that you guys are doing. So, again, congratulations on that, and long may it continue. I think it will. I think you guys are doing great things, and I think the key is here partnerships, and people should not underestimate the conversations that are going on in the background, because I am not privy to any of them, but I have spoken to you all individually. You're all very smart people, and I can only imagine the kind of things that you guys are discussing and building. And I think a lot of people are going to be very excited to see what happens June 1st in particular. and then really see the marketplace take off, and how you guys build around that too.
Yeah, we'll be here, we'll be building, and a lot of the good projects you will eventually come out of the light. There's even some smaller ones that people don't realize are actually good projects. So it's just about it, like you say, like you guys, your approach of educating the people to do things the right way, and that's the approach we're taking, and we're slowly building towards that. So I really think we're going to do well going into the future with what we're building.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I look forward to talking to you again. Hopefully, at some point, in the next month or so, we can have another conversation, a sit down, maybe with a couple of you guys, and talk through what you guys have just developed or are developing, and get a bit of an update on how that's all going.
I'm sure you're going to want to have us on in June, so prepare for a slot, because you're going to definitely want to talk to the team.
Exciting stuff. Jason, thank you so much, my man, for coming in. It's been a great pleasure speaking to you. And I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for everybody else being here. Thank you for obviously the people that needed the update and how we're doing and where we're moving and everything like that. If you've got any further questions, my DMs are always open. I'm always there for the smallest person to the biggest person. And we've got a great team of mods in our Discord as well if you ever want to just ask any questions. But yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, brother, for having me here as always. And thank you to the whole audience for being here and listening to me rant on.
Yeah, indeed. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you to the audience. Of course, we are running the giveaway. The only criteria is you've got to jump into the Warfi Discord. So you make sure you jump in there. I'm going to throw the link in a second. I'll let you go, Jason. Thank you so much. And we'll speak again soon.
Appreciate it. Have a good one, guys.
Take care, man. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.